Every year that passes without these 9 habits installed is a year the compounding did not run. Not a bad year necessarily, a year that produced less than it could have, financially, because the behaviors that convert income into position were absent while the income arrived and departed without being directed anywhere permanent. The regret is not dramatic. It does not arrive as a crisis. It arrives as a quiet calculation at 32 or 38, the specific, structural distance between where you are and where you would have been if the 9 habits had been running for the last 5 years. Not a catastrophic gap, a compounding gap, the kind that grows larger the longer it is allowed to exist and smaller the sooner it is addressed. Tony Stark did not build his financial position through exceptional luck or inherited wealth alone. He built it by understanding earlier than most the specific behaviors that make money compound rather than circulate. The difference between money that compounds and money that circulates is not the amount. It is the daily and weekly habits governing what happens to it between the earning and the spending. 9 habits. Before 2026, here is every one. Habit 1. Calculate your net worth before January 1st. Everything owned minus everything owed. One number. Written down, the man who enters 2026 without knowing his starting position cannot measure whether the year moved the position forward or backward. The net worth calculation takes 1 hour. It is the most important financial hour of the year and the one most consistently skipped. Do not skip it this year. The number, whatever it is the baseline. 2026 either moves it or it doesn't. You cannot know which without having it. Habit 2. Automate the saving before the spending begins. Not what remains after the month, what leaves before the month touches it. A fixed amount moving automatically on payday to a separate account before the balance available for spending is calculated. The automation removes the daily decision and the daily temptation simultaneously. What is not available cannot be spent. What consistently leaves before the spending begins consistently compounds, rather than circulates. This single automation, installed before January 1st, runs through every payday of 2026 without requiring a monthly recommitment. Habit 3. Track every outflow for the first 30 days of 2026 without changing any behavior, just observe. The accurate picture of where money actually goes, not where you think it goes, the actual record, is more valuable than any financial advice available, because it is specific to your life rather than generalized for someone else's. Most people who have never done this discover that the gap between their assumed spending pattern and their actual one is significant. That discovery changes subsequent decisions without requiring willpower. Accuracy produces change that intention does not. Habit 4. Eliminate one recurring expense that is no longer earning its place. 1. Not a purge. A single honest audit of one thing being paid for monthly that is not being used at the frequency that justifies the cost. Most people carry between 3 and 6 such expenses they have not examined since the initial sign-up. One eliminated before January provides the capital that funds the automation in Habit 2. The habit of annual expense audits installed in 2026 runs every subsequent year without requiring a new decision about whether to do it. Stay with habits 5 through 9. The first 4 establish the position and protect the base. What comes next builds the trajectory, and Habit 7 is the one most people understand intellectually, almost never apply with the consistency required, and regret most specifically when they look back at the years it wasn't running. Habit 5. Invest the first increase. Every income increase in 2026, raise, bonus, side income, unexpected windfall, the first allocation goes to investment before lifestyle adjustment, not the whole increase necessarily. The first portion, pre-decided before the increase arrives, automatically directed before the spending can expand to consume it. Lifestyle inflation is the primary mechanism through which higher incomes produce identical financial positions to lower ones. The pre-decision about the increase is the only intervention that consistently interrupts the mechanism before it fires. Habit 6. Build the emergency fund to a specific target before the year ends. Not an indefinite saving intention. A named amount covering a specific number of months of essential expenses in a separate account reached by a specific month in 2026. The emergency fund is not competing with investment. It is the structural protection that prevents one bad event from liquidating the investment. Stark never launched without redundancy systems. The emergency fund is the redundancy system. Without it, every investment made in 2026 is one unexpected expense away from being undone. Habit 7. Invest consistently regardless of whether the conditions feel right. Monthly, on the same date, the same amount, automatically. Regardless of what the market did last week, or what the news is saying about this quarter. The primary driver of long-term investment return for ordinary investors is not selection or timing. It is consistency of contribution across time. Every month in 2026 that the contribution happens, regardless of conditions, is a month the compounding ran. Every month the contribution was paused because conditions felt uncertain is a month the compounding did not run and cannot be retroactively recovered. Habit 8. Review the financial position monthly. 15 minutes, one number, one direction assessment. Net worth updated. Investment performance noted. Gap between current position and the 12-month target measured. The review does not need to produce a decision. It needs to produce visibility. A financial position reviewed monthly is a financial position that can be corrected when the direction is wrong. A financial position reviewed annually is a financial position that has been drifting in the wrong direction for 11 months before the correction was available. Stark ran diagnostics constantly. The monthly review is your diagnostic. Habit 9. Learn one new financial concept every month across 2026. 12 months, 12 concepts, not a course. One concept, understood well enough to explain in plain language, applied to one specific decision in your financial life that month. Compound interest, tax efficiency, index funds, asset allocation, debt structures, insurance, estate basics. Each concept understood changes the quality of the decisions made in its domain for the rest of the life. 12 concepts across 2026 produces a financial literacy that most people never acquire, not through dramatic education, but through one concept a month, applied immediately to one real decision for 12 consecutive months. You came into this expecting 9 resolutions, 9 things to add to the January list alongside everything else that January lists contain, and February quietly abandons. These 9 habits are not resolutions, they are infrastructure, the specific financial architecture that, once installed, runs through 2026, and every year after it without requiring a monthly recommitment. The automation runs, the monthly review runs, the consistent investment runs, the one concept per month runs. Infrastructure installed in December compounds through January, February, and every subsequent month of the year, without asking for the same effort the installation required. The regret the title describes is not the regret of a dramatic financial failure. It is the regret of a year in which the infrastructure was not installed, in which the money arrived and circulated and departed without the 9 habits directing any of it toward a position that compounds. Install the infrastructure before January. Let it run through the year. The regret has a specific address, and it is the absence of these 9 habits, not the absence of a higher income. Tonight, habit 1. The net worth calculation. Everything owned minus everything owed. One number, written down before this week ends. Not because the number will be impressive, because the number is the baseline that 2026 is measured against. Without it, the year produces no measurable financial progress even when it does, and no measurable financial regression even when it does. The number is the instrument. Install the instrument before the year you're trying to measure begins. Then habit 2. Before January's first payday, the automation. A fixed amount, a specific account, an automatic transfer on payday. Set it up tonight if the account exists. Open the account tonight if it doesn't. The payday arrives whether the automation is ready or not. Make sure the automation is ready before the payday is. Stark did not build his position through a single financial genius decision. He built it through 9 specific behaviors, applied consistently, across years that looked unremarkable from the outside and were structurally significant from the inside. 2 of those 9 habits, installed tonight, begin producing structural significance before January 1st gets here. The financial position you want in 5 years is being built or not built by the habits running right now. 9 habits change what is being built. Install them before the year turns. The compounding starts the day the habits do. Note: this video covers general financial habits and principles only. It is not financial advice. Your specific financial situation requires your own research and, where appropriate, guidance from a qualified financial professional. One question: have you calculated your net worth in the last 30 days? Yes or no? If no, that is tonight's task. One number: everything owned minus everything owed, written down before midnight. That number is where 2026 begins. Make sure you know where that is. If this named the habits that need to be running before January, subscribe. More of this. The compounding starts the day the habits do, not January 1st. Tonight.